Welcome to Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos. And this is the show where we talk about the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of HeroClix. Alright, I still haven't gotten this echo thing straightened out. I know I need to get audio foam. I need to get audio foam. And more importantly, I know I need audio foam for my classroom. And that's about to start. I'm recording this on Sunday. Tomorrow I'm going Super Saiyan level 4, if that exists anymore, to teach these kids. So I'm looking forward to that. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at Star Trek. And I know I'm a day late, $5 short, maybe hell 2 weeks late, and $3 short, but brother's been moving and trying to take care of things, so please forgive me. Please forgive me, baby. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right. First off, I think because there's enough figures in this set, I'm just going to skip to the ones that I think that are better and more interesting. So first off is Borg drone. Mainly because I like that Borg TA just a little bit. Also, the Borg, I think, really start building themselves up a little bit when you start getting that Borg Queen involved, and you start. I think in the next wave, Borg are just going to be. I don't think they're going to be like a powerhouse, unstoppable. But I do think that they're going to be a lot stronger, I hope. And if they're not, then we're sort of looking at like the Skrulls problem. So the Borg team ability is when an adjacent friendly character is KO'd after resolutions, you may roll a d6. If you do, heal this character equal to the result -2, minimum 1. So they're able to start healing themselves, sort of back up. It's sort of like Suicide Squad, but not. So having a couple of Borg drones die to maybe help your queen or whatever else, or even having Pogs die, will keep the Borg alive. And I think that's one of the things that you really want to be looking out for. Is you play Borg on non-theme, and then you're definitely playing them with Pogs. Or if you do play them on theme with Robot, you have them with Isaac. I think that's where they're going to get mileage out of. So yeah, so just keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Now next up is Hugh. Hugh is good because as a prime. And why is he good? He's cheap. He has Borg, Starfleet, and Robot. But he also has Choose, Range Combat Expert, or Enhancement. Hugh can use the Chosen Power this turn. Now, for 45 points, that's not bad. So he's sort of supporty, or he can be sort of attacky. He also has friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Starfleet keyword, modified defense by +1. When attacked by a character with the Borg keyword. So that's nice. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Borg keyword, modified defense +1 when attacked by a character with Starfleet. So that's nice. All right, Jean-Luc Picard, Captain's Log. So I played a 250-point fun game at my local store, Dice Addiction, in Kansas City, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I played 2 Captain Picards. Fast Forces Commander Riker, both Wesleys, an ensign and Nurse Agawas, 2 Nurse Agawas. Okay, I know I'm under points, but mistakes were made, and I thought the event was something that the event was not. So this is dumb. So I want to first talk about Captain of the USS Enterprise. Yeah, Captain's Log. I call it Captain's Log. because this is how good it is. Leadership, when Captain Jean-Luc Picard uses it and the result is a 6, you may instead remove an action token from all friendly characters with the Starfleet keyword within 6 squares, including himself. 2 Jean-Luc Picards on a Starfleet team are almost mandatory. They're almost mandatory. To be able to just be like Captain's Log, boom, all my guys are clean, is huge. It's super huge. So I really like it. He also has Defend, which Starfleet needs. He has energy shield deflection himself, but the fact that he has an 18 Defend, most of the Starfleet defenses are 16 to 17. And then when they get hit, they usually go down to the 15s for some of them, like Wesley. So you really want to be able to have Jean-Luc Picard on your team. Now, him sashaying around with sidestep is a bonus. He eventually has TK. That's fine, too. Now, I also got punished by my opponent with the trait, I don't feel comfortable around children, when I got smacked, I think, by a crypto, because he's tiny. And so, because of that, that little -1 defense against tiny characters sort of does hurt, but there are not a lot of those characters in modern age that are aggressively used. All right, Starfleet Ensign. You're paying for this for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you're running Starfleet. Number 2, you are utilizing his Perplex or TK. That's it. You might want to say the mind control. I mean, not mind control, the end cap, but that you're never doing that. You're never paying 20 points for him to be on Close Combat Expert. You could try running 4 at 15. So you're spending 60 points for 4 guys, and I get it. That's sort of cool. But yeah, that's not worth it. All right, let's keep going. Lieutenant Commander Data. I like him because of the shifting focus datas. And then if you can get him in the right position, he can shifting focus and have Close Combat Expert with a 3 damage in a 10 attack. So he's not bad. He's definitely not bad. So if you combine him with the Lieutenant Worf, the next one, again, you're going to increase your damage output, so you can put your more of your points into attack if you want to from your Close Combat Expert. All right, Beverly Crusher. Now, you would think because I like support characters that I would be super pro Beverly Crusher. And normally I would for the points. But in this case, no. Right, and the main reason is for right now, there's no main reason why you need to get rid of the robot keyword off of a character. There's just not right now. In Golden Age, where you still have to deal with Justin Zephyr, then yes, it makes absolute perfect sense why you are doing that. So I give this character credit as being useful in Golden Age, but not so much in Modern Age. So, all right. I know she has a special power, but I don't think the special power is that good. Counselor Troy, I'm going to make a note for Counselor Troy. If you're not running Picard, you want to run Counselor Troy. And here's the main reason why. She has sidestep defend with the 18, which most of your team needs majority of the time. And she has prob. But more than likely, you are going to be using like Jodie LaForge, or you're going to be using just theme props, because you have like ensigns, Wesleys, Lieutenant Kyle from the previous Star Trek set. Like, you have a ton of other characters that are just providing you prop. So you don't necessarily need her for prop, but I would recommend that if you do play her, that you're trying to like cover a wide area of a lot of Starfleet people. So let's just say you're trying to do a 400 or a 500 point game of Starfleet. Yeah, I would want one of her on your field just to keep your crew alive, because I think she's more useful that way. Okay. Klingon Warrior is not good. It's just not good. Goran is not good. Like, I hate saying this. He's not good. He does have a bonus, which is his damage power. He acts under my authority as Chancellor of the King Klingon High Council. Leadership: when Goran uses it and succeeds, choose a friendly character that's adjacent or has the Klingon keyword. That character has autonomous this turn. That would not be bad if he was like 80 points. If he was 80 points, that would be bonkers. That would be bonkers. I would 100% say that. But now you're looking at ruler, politician, warrior keywords to use him. But you're not really... There are not a lot of good Klingons. So there's the problem. And again, I keep bringing up Captain Marvel as a set. Not because I hate... Well, I sort of don't like Captain Marvel as a character. But more to sort of prove that, like, when you make a set and you're making factions fight each other, it's okay to have certain characters that negate certain abilities on one faction, but you need to make the other factions worthwhile. Make them worth playing if you're going to go into a faction mindset. And that is what I see is gloriously failing in this set, is that all of the faction stuff is just Starfleet and a little bit Borg, and everything else is sort of crap. Okay, let's keep going. I like Barclay at 20. I also like Barclay at 50. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with Barclay. Playing him at 50, I think you need like plans, and you need a lot of plans. Now, the question that you need to ask yourself is, can you afford to have a 50 point, afford to pay 50 points for functionally 6 clicks? Or, functionally 6 clicks. So that's really depending on if you're running your Starfleet team or your Scientist team. As for a holodeck, I don't really know how good that keyword is going to be. But overall, I like Barclay. I think he's good. I think that there's a lot to be played with Barclay. Thomas Riker. R.I.P. my bro. R.I.P. You were what Starfleet needed. I did my last video was all about Thomas Riker. R.I.P. my homie. All right. Having played my Starfleet team and having one Thomas Riker, I will say he is stupid. He is still stupid. Having 3 or 5 of them just spawn on the board, as fun and as amount of ridiculous fun I would have had with that, I can admit that it would have been a problem. Definitely after I played it in person, to be able to bombard my opponent with a bunch of just charging Rikers. It would have been just a little bit too much for most people. So I'm willing to admit that. I'm a grown man. I'm willing to admit that. So I love some Thomas Riker though. Next up is Ensign Crusher. You're only ever really playing him at 25. If you play him at 50, no. Please stop. It's like the Michael Jordan commercial. It's like stop. Really. Because you're playing him at 50. Yes, he can become a little bit more offensive, but now he's this melee sort of ish guy. You now have, willpower, and you're protected outwit and can't be healed. But guess what? You have no super senses. You have no shape change. You have none of the things that keep you alive. And so you're just handing your opponent a free 50 points where you could have just have said, hey, can I just play another Instant Crusher? Can I just play another Instant Crusher? So let's look at Instant Crusher. I got it, Captain. Once per turn, when a friendly character that's adjacent or has a Starfleet keyword rolls leadership, shape change or super senses or impervious, they may re-roll that roll. This is good. It's not a unique modifier or anything like that. So having 2 Instant Crushers is better than having 1 Instant Crusher. Not only that, let's go back to Captain's Log, okay, with Jean-Luc Picard. The ability to say, look, I'm going to re-roll my leadership roll, and you land that 6, it feels good. It feels really, really, really good. Okay? So, I feel like Instant Crusher, with his Perplex, also his enhancement, is a top 5 must buy on top of Jean-Luc Picard. Yeah, you definitely got to get Instant Crusher. He really helps you out. We got another Lieutenant Worf, but screw that. Now, okay, so this is why I don't like Beverly Crusher, is because of Nurse Agawa. Now, you can make the argument that Beverly Crusher has a higher attack, as she's statistically more likely to hit a character for support. But then enters Nurse Agawa, who has 9 attack and a special power that says Sick Bay standing by. Support. Once per turn, when an adjacent friendly character uses support, you may re-roll that 2d6 roll. So you played 2 Nurse Agawas, right? And you're able to re-roll the support roll for an adjacent Nurse Agawa. You just keep them next to each other. They're the double mint twins, okay? And you're like, oh, okay, Nurse Agawa. Scalpel? Thank you, Nurse Agawa. Scalpel. You can just pretend that they're sisters the entire time if you wanted to. Okay? Because this is the greatness of this piece. It's 3 clicks deep. So what if it dies? You don't care. Okay? I know some games are close, but you're having defend. You have a lot of defend on Starfleet, or a lot of good defend characters on Starfleet. So you have an 18 defense, not a 16. Because remember what I said, one of the major problems with Starfleet is a lot of their characters are like 16 and 17 defense. And with Nurse Agawa, she starts with a 16 and she goes down to a 15 on her last click. But she has a 9 attack and willpower. She doesn't need willpower on click 2 because more than likely, if she got knocked off of her first click, more than 9 times out of 10, she's dead. Okay. Now, I had someone poison down my Nurse Agawas, which is rare. Okay? It's rare. This chick is not throwing blows with anybody. I almost wish she had a 10 attack, 0 damage. Alright? But if you need to try to punk somebody, she can still do it, and that's nice. But overall, like, Nurse Agawa is a must-buy, but I would say you would want to buy 2. Commander Shelby, there was a point where I wasn't sure on this chick, but having played some fun games on Roll20, this chick is the truth. So why is that? You're going to look at her base stats, you're going to be like, okay, whatever. What's the magic, Edward? And it's this. She has running shot, 10 attack, 17 defense, willpower, 3 damage. Not that great up top. Okay, but then her trait kicks in is I'm the best you got. At the beginning of the game, choose a keyword. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have Starfleet keyword modify attack by +1 when attacking. Only opposing characters with the chosen keyword. If the chosen keyword is robot or Borg, modify attack by +2. Now, here is the rub. Starfleet's attacks are on average a 10. On average. Yes, you have your Lieutenant Worf that's an 11. Occasionally you'll find a Spock or some other guy that's an 11. Okay? But Commander Shelby just yells to the entire crew, like, look, Captain on deck. We're going to charge these photon torpedoes to be modulating to get through their shields. Okay? So you have characters like Riker, who have a 10 attack, now have an 11 attack just flat because Shelby's on the field. Not bound to any special power, just flat. And that gives Starfleet like the advantage. It's sort of like I said in the last episode. Starfleet is like this composite like team where this guy gives you this guy gives you that, this other guy gives you this. And so when they all sort of come together, their stats start building up because there's all these different characters giving buffs and whatnot. Okay, so Commander Shelby is 60 points. I know that's a little tad expensive, but you're getting running shot. And that is what's really important, is you're getting running shot. And Psychic Blast. You don't really get a lot of that. All right, next up. I think, yeah. We'll talk about Kim Peck real quick. Kim Peck is okay. For Klingons, they need him because he's in Dom Prob. But he has a decent trait and he has a decent attack power. So when friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Klingon keyword as damage in the opponent's attack, give that character a dishonor token. When a friendly character makes an attack with a single target, you may remove any number of dishonor tokens. If you do, and the attack hits, increase the damage dealt by the number of dishonor tokens, which is nice. That is nice. So he has some places, mainly on Ruler and Warrior. Just the fact that you can increase damage dealt, not your damage modification, means like you potentially could do some stupid stuff with some undying character. So because of his price, I do think like Kim Peck may have some potential. If he had Mastermind and oh buddy, ha ha, yeah, that would be great. Next up is a special power, which is friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Klingon keyword have improved targeting nor is hindering. So I think that's nice because what's one of the bigger problems is that is emerging in the format is the creep of stealth. And this character sort of comes back and says, look, we can sort of punish the stealthy people, which is good and I think is necessary. All right. Borg boarding party. It would only be worse if it was like Borg boarding ballista or something like that, or battalion. Borg boarding battalion. That would have, oh gosh, that would have been a messed up phrase. All right. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. When the Borg boarding party KOs an opposing character after resolutions, roll a d6, 5 through 6. You may generate a Borg drone on click 4 in that character square. The generated character has autonomous this turn. Woo-wee! This is what you need. This is what you need. I know, like the thought of, Edward, you didn't like the Borg drone. Yeah, it's not great. Well, let me rephrase it. I did. This was my first pick, so never mind. I did like it. It's okay. The Borg drone is okay. But when you start having that team ability and you start having just the ability to assimilate guys, like, this is good. Adaption. When an opposing character is given an action to activate a standard power that targets or damages a character, that's adjacent or has the board keyword after resolutions, opposing characters can't use that power this turn. Protected Pulse Wave. Yes. Yes, please. Yes, and yes, some more. They are aboard. Phasing Teleport. Passenger 2. But only to carry characters with the board keyword. Yes, and yes, some more. Alright, so you need 2 of these if you're going to run Borg. Why 2? Because that's 100 points. They're getting your people into position. Okay? And also you want to have, you will be assimilated and adaption ready to go. You need that. Okay? So is this top tier meta? No. This is like C plus B minus. They did not design the Borg well. Okay? They did not design the Borg well. And because of that, they're going to suffer. Like one easy, this is just a pity note or a pedly point. Okay. They could have easily said, look, what's Starfleet's weakness? Without a defender, they have a low defense value. How do we make it so that the Borg are threatening to them? Because these are normal people. Like Worf is buff. That's because he's a Klingon. You know, Data is strong. That's because he is an android. The rest of these cats are people. Okay? They're on people scale. We don't have Kryptonians in this world. Okay? We have people. Okay? So because of that, they could have just said Borg are going to just when you code Borg into the algorithm or whatever, we're going to do 2 things for Borg. They're all mostly metal, and they mostly have their shields, and they're very accurate. So we're going to increase their attack on average to always be 11, starting off. We don't necessarily have to give them high damage, or we can give them a lot of situational damage, but we're going to start them with an 11 attack just flat starting off. And then start introducing more of the assimilation stuff. And then maybe even say if their their team ability could have easily been, if targeted by a ranged combat attack, that type of attack won't be functional again this turn against character with the Borg keyword. Or you could say when targeted by a ranged attack, all other following ranged attacks against friendly characters with Borg keyword, or against all other friendly characters at +1 defense. Boom. Now you've made them have a fight, because characters like Commander Shelby just make the Borg's defenses a joke. I mean, they could have said look, we can discount invuln for every Borg. Borg don't start with toughness. Borg always start with invul. And then you can go into Borg Queen with impervious and invincible and all that. That would have been fine. And then you could give them a discount on those powers too if you wanted to. But they did not design the Borg well. Like Commander Shelby is thicker in the dial than the Borg boarding party. Just honestly. So you could say, but the Borg boarding party has toughness. So does Riker. Riker, I think the Fast Forces Riker has toughness. That doesn't mean jack. When we start talking about, the amount of damage that they could take, Shelby can, sort of take more damage. So, anyway, let's keep going. Wesley Crusher. You're going to buy this because he's 15-point Starfleet. Having played this Wesley Crusher, you do not play him unless you have a medic. you do not play him unless you have a medic, because Wesley constantly is hurting his dang self all the dang time. All the dang time. I roll in 3 games. I can bet Wesley hurt himself over 25 times. And again, I'm running double Nursa Gawa. So it's not a problem about healing Wesley up. The problem that it comes in is the fact that I have to spend so much energy and so much time healing Wesley up. If it wasn't for the fact that on a 6 he can remove an action token, I would argue that Wesley Crusher is a trap. Okay? He would be a trap. But other than that, he is a buy. I have one. I'm not going to lie. But it's... You would hope he would not hurt himself that much. Okay, next up is Cosmic Riker. Cosmic Riker is just fun. The only reason you get or buy Cosmic Riker is because A, you want to use his I should have never have made you that promise, or you're just having fun and you want to put a little bit more, ranged beef into your Starfleet team, which he does do. Okay, is he worth I would argue that he's better at 125 than 100. Because I feel for 2 more clicks of his defense power and his attack power, I think it's worth it. So that's how I look at it. But yeah, anyway, I like this guy. Also, you could play some interesting games with him and then the Fast Forces Riker with the whole Thomas the Train trick, but I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I like him. I like him. Again, is he top tier meta? No, he is not top tier meta. Is he fun? I believe so. I believe he is fun. Yeah, let's keep going. Tasha Yar is okay. Again, looking at her, like, you have that 11 attack, but her powers are not, and her trait is really not that good. It's not. But charge, precision strike, 11 attack. If you send out a Thomas the Train, now she's hitting for 4, or whatever. Like, she's good. But again, there's this Starfleet problem, which is, she's a melee piece. Well, you don't have a lot of stuff that's really helping you in melee. Her defense is low. So more than likely, what's going to happen is you're going to keep her next to Picard. You're going to keep her next to just said her name, Troy. And then she's just going to sit there and chill the entire time. Like, you don't have an incentive to move her out. You have more of an incentive to keep her on her 11 attack. Have Shelby on your team. Boost up her attack to a 12 or a 13, depending on the circumstances, and then just have your fight from there. And I think that is a wise idea. Okay, Instant Roller in. I also bought one of these. Uncertain Loyalties. This is actually a good betrayer mechanic. Once per force, so if your opponent kills her and then you kill her back, it triggered once per force. So, like, once she's on your opponent's force, you sort of ignore her, because then, no. You don't ignore her. Never mind. You try to get her back for that one last go. So anyway, she has once per force when Instant Roller in is KO'd. Do not remove her from the game. Instead, after resolutions, place her in the square she last occupied on click 1. Now, she is now friendly to your opponent's force. // If she is not on her starting force, friendly characters can't use probability control. This is gangster. You shut down like the Captain Marvel double unseen team. You sort of shut that down. You shut down a lot of advantages that team has by just saying you can't use prob. And so she's a figure that you just shove her into your opponent's face and say, I dare you to hit me. I dare you to hit me. I dare you to hit me. Like that toxic girlfriend that some people sometimes encounter. And then they finally hit them and it's like, you're going to jail. And in this case, you're going to prob jail. So then I have to say, Starting Over Podcast does not promote domestic violence, but we do understand that toxic relationships do happen for both genders and both sexual identities, whatever the hell it is. Just nowadays, it doesn't even make sense to me anymore. All right, so I need to say that I do not promote domestic violence, even though the allegory would be appropriate for this situation. All right, so anyway, this chick is great. She is the best betrayer. Again, smacking head. If you are Borg, you now have this problem because you don't have that many advantages and now you can't use prob against Starfleet. Okay, you are Klingons. What the hell are you supposed to do? What really are you supposed to do? You can't do jack. You can't do jack. So it's frustrating. It is realistically frustrating because, again, I'm a Trekkie. If you hadn't known that. I tolerate Star Wars. I love me some Star Trek, except for this new crap that they put out. I'm really not a fan of that. I grew up on Deep Space Nine, Next Gen. I even watched a ton of the old Star Trek. I remember the first time I watched Star Trek, Captain Kirk and all the other stuff, and I was just like, oh, it's on! It's space! And there's aliens! Yay! And it was exciting. You know, I didn't understand, why half the things that they did was such a big a deal. I didn't get it. I didn't have to. I was a kid. But I remember when I saw on watching TV with my dad and watching the Klingons and on Next Gen and how the Klingons would just rip folks up. I remember the Borg all the way through Voyager. Let's not lie. We all watch Voyager for 7 of 9 if you're heterosexual. Even watching the Borg and knowing the Borg will wreck your day. The Borg will wreck your day. The best Starfleet commander never wants to see a Borg cube after the First Contact War. No Starfleet commander wants to see a Borg cube or a Borg sphere. Okay? And you're telling me in HeroClix that Starfleet has all the tools to deal with the Borg. Just all the tools. And it feels like a kick to the balls. Okay? Because if it would be one thing if Borg had a TA that was non-copyable, and I am insisting this, non-copyable TA, okay, that said, you know what, we're the Borg. Every character type in existence from, sci-fi to fantasy needs to shit a brick when they see us. Okay? They are functionally almost the orc allegory for sci-fi. When you take it back to Tolkien, the excesses of the industry and the machine. They're literally the machine. And WizKids is just like, nah, dog, villains gotta suck. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of. There is literally nothing to be afraid of with most of the Borg. As much as I would like to love them in full and just play them and just order a bunch of them, there is nothing good really to like about the Borg that makes you want to play Starfleet versus the Borg. It just doesn't happen. And I know there's some internal play testing where they had a good time and they felt like good beat evil, but no. This is bad. And now I can't use prop because of Ensign Roller-In. This is bad. All right, let's keep going. I'm not going to finish this if I keep ranting. Lieutenant Commander Jody LaForge. This guy is hot fire. This is also, I think, one of the characters that I think a lot of people have slept on and do not understand how dumb this dude can be. We're going to have to do this just right. Free. Choose a friendly character that's adjacent or has the Starfleet keyword, then roll a d6. When the chosen character attacks this turn, modify its damage by +1 for each die in its attack roll. That's the resulting number. So I say, hey, Starfleet guy, I'm gonna roll, and you roll. I roll 5. Oh, you also roll a 5 in your dice attack. Guess what? Damage is increased. Okay, great. Wait a second. There we go, Captain. Try it now. Probability control. When he uses it to reroll an attack roll of an adjacent friendly character, you may choose to reroll only 1 die. Now, this is one of the problems, is that it is adjacent. But, and Becky, we like these big butts. This is very strong because you're able to say, oh, I made this attack. Now, let's just say Q or whatever replaces my die. And then I'm like, well, no, screw that, homie. I'm going to re-roll that die. So functionally, Jody LaForge is anti-Q. And he's huge anti-Q. And I don't think a lot of people have realized how dumb Jody LaForge is. In the sense of this, like when you look at Mental Plick and you look at Q and being able to replace in Trelane, their ability to replace dice is really strong. But then to say, yo, man, we're going to re-roll just 1 dice. Definitely if you roll 8, 4, 5, or 6 in most cases, for an attack, that's huge. I think to be able to re-roll your 1, 2s, and 3s just gives you a way bigger edge. Definitely if you have a 6 on the board, and let's just say you need an 8, it is exponentially in your favor to re-roll the 1. Because more than likely you are going to hit. Yes, you could get really, really unlucky and have that 1 in 6 chance that you roll a 1 again. That can happen. But more than likely, you're probably going to hit. So Jody LaForge, 40 points. Black History Month. We salute you, Jody LaForge. You're coming out and helping us win. Okay. So I like him mainly just for his utility. He also has improved targeting, nor is hindering, because the visor is grade A pimp, son. Grade A pimp. This is futuristic pimp here. So we're going to do that. All right. Let's keep going. Again, I think the Dura sisters. If you're a Klingon fan, you play both of them, but other than that, they're trash. So that just summarizes that and sums that up. All right, let's talk about Q's, baby. All right, let's talk about Q. All right. Now, first off, this is normal Q. So we just call him French Q. All right. And then there's Picard Q. All right. So we're just going to separate it that way. I know some people say it's just normal Q and Prime Q. No. French Q and Picard Q. That's more appropriate. If that's more appropriate. You want to know why? Because this is freaking starting over podcast. That's why. I give random names to all sorts of figures all the dang time. So, well, let's start off with French Q. French Q comes at 300, 225, 125, and 50. What are you doing with this Q? Not much. But he's fun. Now, I want to emphasize fun. Not game breaking, not meta world changing. Fun. All right. As of now. So what does he do? A game to test if you are worthy of the greatest gift the Q can offer. At the beginning of the game, generate a number of alien soldier bystander tokens corresponding to Q's point value. So at 50, he doesn't get any. At 125, he gets 2. At 225, he gets 3. And at 300, he gets 4. All right, so he's not technically a one-man army, but all right. Next, he has a game. This game, in fact, be completely unfair. Q isn't a standard character, which sort of sucks because Q with some equipment would probably be actually scary. Like with Exospecs, I think he would be ridiculously scary. And so he can't be equipped and he can't be a pilot, which we all are saying, thank God. At the beginning of your turn, if there is no D6 on this card, roll a D6 and place it on your card. When a character within range rolls and rolls an attack or rolls for super senses, you may remove the D6 from this card and replace a die in the roll with it. All right, so functionally, you just be able to swap out the Mitzelplick D6, except it's not a power action. Is this worth 50 points? No. Is this worth 125 points? No. Is this worth 225 points? Sort of yes, just because of the investment. Is this worth 300 points? Yes. Okay. So let me break this down why I say what I'm saying. All right. Let's just go to the part about super senses. I can pay 5 points, and I want to make this clear. This is not a Phoenix Nest against 4 Points Gaming and Married with Clicks. Okay, it's not. And I did not listen completely to the debate between Jay Solomon and Lucas Van Holland and PJ and Scott. Okay, I did not fully listen to that. I would recommend if you want to go listen to that on HeroClix, I think it would be a good listen. All right. So I want to make it clear that I'm not shooting shots post somebody else's show. All right. But I want to make it clear from a game mechanic standpoint, what Q does in the current gamescape at 50 points is too expensive. Okay, so let's break this down why. I can go and have Wakanda. I can pick the Wakanda map, the EarthX Wakanda map. Get that bonus. And I can re-roll super senses. If I'm on that map. Okay. I can say once per game, I can re-roll my super senses if I'm not on that map. Okay. Now, is that 5 points? That 5 points on that map is exponentially more powerful and way cheaper than Q. So that right there has already cut him down by leaps and bounds right there. All right, next, we can say, hey, this replaced die can still be re-rolled. So as long as I have a prob, I can just say, forget you. I'm going to re-roll. I'm going to just re-roll the attack. So I know I can get a prob as cheap as 25 points. So when I combine my prob at 25 points in my EarthX bonus, EarthX map bonus, boop, that's 30 points. That's cheaper than Q. Now, I can even get even more extreme. And I can just say, look, I have Mr. Oz and I have the EarthX Wakanda map bonus. That is 45 points. I have a 12 range prob that ignores everything. Okay. And I can still reroll my super senses. At 45 points, I am 5 more points efficient than Q. Now, the only advantage is that Q can try to re-roll or replace my super senses. But guess what? For him to do that, that means that he's not doing that on an attack. Okay, so let me rephrase that. Yes, he's not doing it on one of my attacks. Because again, at the beginning of your turn. So he gets that at the beginning of the turn. If he decides to use that on one of his attacks, that's it. He will not get to use that on my turn. So he has to pick on which player he's going to use it. And that is essential. That is really, really essential. So when we're just breaking it down by points for that ability, if we're weighing that ability, it is a very expensive and overcosted ability when you're just paying 50 points for the character. At the higher end, you're playing bigger games, it makes more sense because you're going to have additional probs and whatever else. And he is just a shenanigan on top of all of that. Okay? But if I'm building a 300-point team and I'm looking at what he's doing for my 300-point team, then we're at a huge disadvantage. It's just not cost efficient if I'm looking at him as some sort of super prob. All right, next up, he has the defenses. To use a 20th century term, she's in a penalty box where she will be unharmed unless mastermind super senses. Okay, great. So if I roll a 6 with my completely this game, in fact, be completely unfair. If I do that, am I going to say that to try to protect my Q because he's going to have a 16 defense? And that's a legitimate question because you do need to think about that. Next up, even though he has mastermind, you're going to mastermind to a soldier. Oh, if you're at 50 points, you don't get any soldiers. All right. So there's that reality. All right. Then once per turn, when an opposing character attacks Q, after resolutions, you may place a penalty box marker in that square. At the end of their turn, remove the penalty box marker. Characters occupying a penalty box marker have immobile. When a character targeting Q misses, deal a character occupying a penalty box marker 1 penetrating damage. This part is fine. He has super senses, so it counts as a miss. Boom. Now you're in the penalty box and you're going to take a damage. Probability control. He has probability control shape change. All right. None of this jank is protected pulse wave. So again, at 50 points, you get caught in an AoE pulse wave. You will not be able to get any of your abilities off, and your Q is dead. All right. Now let's look at these soldiers. They have 4 ranged, no sidestep. They're not autonomous. They're 16 defense and 3 damage. Okay. Oh, no, never mind. They are autonomous. The little notification down here tells me so. All right, so they are autonomous. So once we start hitting 225, where we're getting 3 of these suckers, it's a little bit more worth it because I have Mastermind Fodder, I have Super Senses, I have Shape Change. If I do take a serious hit, there are, I can still have mechanics in my team that's going to heal me back up if I want to. So he's a little bit better. 300 points. Yeah, again, he's fun. Not meta, but fun. And I really want to emphasize that because a lot of the Star Trek stuff, minus the Borg and the freaking Klingons, is fun. Okay? I wish the Continuum had a keyword because there's a couple other Continuum moments that come up. And I know the whole idea of Q being with Q, but like Q Riker, there's also another girl that showed up in the series, found out that she was a Q. She had like a crush on Riker. She wanted she wanted that beard action, but she was a little girl. She was a minor. She was a teenage girl. So I don't know if they have pedo gel in the future. I don't know if they solved that problem genetically or not, but I don't think Riker was feeling that. He had Troy, which for the time Troy was walking sex. Like, she was great. Okay, so anyway, going back, so we got another Jean-Luc Picard. Not really worth it. I don't think he's worth it. Definitely, Common Picard is better. Why did it jump from Q to... Yeah, someone didn't do this right. So let's talk Prime Q, or I like to call Picard Q. Is Picard Q worth it? All right, let's break it down. So let's look at his damage power. Q became interested in you. Probability control free. Choose an opposing character that attacked Q or damaged Q or damaged a friendly character since your last turn. Place Q such that he's within 6 squares in line of fire. All right, that's pretty good. Temper, mon capitaine. I'm merely trying to assist a pitiful species. Super senses. When Q is attacked, roll d6. If the attack is not a critical hit, and either die in the attack roll is the resulting number, Q becomes missed by the attack. Okay, so if it's not a crit hit, Q is just cool. Yeah, this is pretty good. So yeah, I like that. Let's play a game. Q isn't a standard character. At the beginning of your turn, if there's no d6 on this card, roll a d6 and place it on this card. When this character is within range and rolls an attack roll or rolls for super senses, you may remove the d6 from this card. Now, all right, so again, we're sort of like French Q again. Now we're at Prime Q. Now I'm going to sort of continue up my argument as I said before. Is this Q good? He's fun. Does he beat Earth X map bonus plus a TK? A cheap TK. Sorry, not cheap TK, a cheap prop. And the answer is no. He doesn't. All right, mainly because it's a lot more limiting because of keywords. All right, he just doesn't at 30 points. It's not happening. All right, while he does look cool leaning back in the chair, all right, he does look cool. It's not worth it. And once you realize it's not worth it, but more cost effective than other Q, then you can start making some better decisions. Now let's look at what he gets on 175. Oh, no, never mind. I already went over that. Yeah. So, again, is this horrible? No. Is this fun? Yes. It's fun. Okay? It's fun. And I think that's the thing. Now, if someone's to say, hey, buddy, I got both Qs on the same team, is this a good idea? Maybe. I mean, it's cosmic, so you really can't go wrong. It's like, insert good flavor with other good flavors, and then you have a meal of good flavors. You know, that's really it. Let's look at Locutus Borg real quick, and this again brings up my whole rant of Borg are not good. Okay, and this was the guy that I was most looking forward to, because for me, I think the writer's strike was happening when Locutus Borg was revealed, and it took like a long time before a new season of Star Trek came out. So you were like, oh my gosh, what happened? You know, back when folks actually gave a darn about writing and were trying to do new things and think of new ideas. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Locutus Borg has the attack to pay the bills, but, you know, the Borg don't really have a lot of buffing. Okay. Then you have toughness, which sort of sucks because that doesn't help you. You have running shot and 7 range, which is nice because a lot of Starfleet doesn't have good swing for running shot. So that's one of the advantages that Locutus does have, is that he's able to, like, say to Starfleet, you know, I'm able to come out and get the range out on you because I have a laser rifle or whatever. I have Borg technology. Also, just to let you know, one of the most funniest things about Star Trek for me is that stuff has to be really real for them to bring out the rifles. Like they have to be like being invaded or knowing that they're going into full-on hostile territory before they bring out the rifles. They're like, nah, man, bring the phasers. Bring the phasers. Phasers have been used for more stuff than killing people and stunning people than actual combat. You bring out the rifles, I'm leaving a hole in your chest, homie. That's what happens when I bring out the rifles. All right, so he has outwit, which is not bad, but again, we're encountering this problem with Starfleet. I mean, when they're fighting Starfleet, what are you outwitting? Are you going to be able to get to, like, the Picard that's defending? No, you're not. So there's problems there. All right. I outwitted Wesley. He's perplexed. Now he will stop hitting himself. Oh my gosh. So we're at a huge disadvantage because Starfleet's main buffing for most of their characters are not necessarily special powers. While there are some, it's mainly traits. So this outwit doesn't do jack. All right. Then let's look at his trait. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Borg keyword can use still energy. Don't help you. If they can already use still energy, when they use it instead, use it to heal, they heal an additional click. Okay, again, not helping you. I mean, it's good for his team. I mean, for his own click, but realistically not helping. Attacking the Enterprise. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Borg keyword modify attack by +2 when attacking characters with Starfleet. Okay, you need this. You need this. All right, this is your breakthrough moment. Okay, but here's the problem, freaking whiz kids. At lower rarities and non-unique, I have Shelby, and I can run 2 Shelbys. All right, that is 120. Okay, that is 120. I'm not going to front. And I can be capped attack against the Borg all the time. Or I can run a Shelby and a Spock from the Fast Forces of the previous set. And I am capped attack against the Borg the entire freaking time. There's nothing that the Borg have that's going to raise their I need to stop. All right, let's go. Borg Queen, the freaking robot Madonna for freaking Borg, because that's what they needed. And she's a title character, which is what they didn't need. But again, all right, whatever. Borg Queen, is whenever she's KO, opposing characters can use Outwit on their next turn. Okay, great. That's not too bad. All right, next. So the +1 is free. Choose one. Move or close or range actions of the chosen type given to friendly characters that are adjacent or have the board keyword don't count against your action total this turn. Okay, great. So it doesn't count against your action total, but you're not spamming characters like stop, Edward, stop. -X, transporter, free. Choose a character on your sideline with the board keyword in a starting line for that character. You may pay 1 plot point plus 1 plot point per 10 full points of that character's cost to place that character on the chosen starting line in an unoccupied square within 6 squares in line of fire. A force may have only one character placed by this effect on the map at a time. Example, you have to remove 5 plot points to get some character between 40 and 49 points or whatever. Assimilation, free. Choose a character from your opponent's KO area. You may give 1 plot point and 1 plot point per full 10 full points for a character starting line this game to place that character on that starting line in an unoccupied square within 6 squares in line of fire. A force may have only one character placed by this effect on the map at a time. Blah 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 blah. All right. Is assimilation good? Yes. Is it good enough to pay the bills? No. Because you're going to have to run Locutus plus the Board Queen. That is 175 points. You're not doing Jack against Starfleet in 300. They are more the swarm than the actual Borg is. Like, I really want that to hit home. Like, while on the TV show, I said I wouldn't keep doing this, but I have to this time. On the TV show, there were 2 things scary about the Borg. One was the assimilation, and 2 was how strong they were. And if you went onto their ships, you had to come with a full party because some of your people are going to get assimilated. Plus, they're just going to wreck everything. They have their whole entire crew there to just kill you. And so making them tough, making them scary, making them sort of swarmy is great. It would have been great. Or they could have taken sort of the standpoint of, we are just hella hard to kill because of like our fluctuating shields and stuff like that. Plus, we're pretty much walking in armor the entire time. If pick one approach. Instead they sort of picked the middle ground where they're sort of scary. They're sort of threatening. They maybe be able to assimilate. They may be able to do stuff. Oh, okay, hey, guess what? The Borg Queen is going to bring stuff from the sideline and then put it back. Okay, these things are sort of threatening, but they're not really threatening. And I'm not even saying like you got to go out there and fight Unimind and chase Thanos and all this other stuff. I mean, just for fighting Starfleet. It is a joke. All right. Should you buy Borg Queen if you are a Star Trek fan? That's it. Data is, again, this data is good, but I'm getting disturbed. All right, Mirrorverse people. Mirrorverse is pretty much Colossal Retail, but it's not for Starfleet, which is what they needed. Like, a majority of these characters are what they needed. The Beverly Crusher is okay, but I would never pay 100 points for her. William Riker, Mirror William Riker, that dude is boss. I like him. I like them. I like them because Mirror Universe is functionally Mystics. They they come through like gangbusters, homie. And I think Mirror Riker is worth his points. So let's look at the Fast Forces real briefly. So you have Jean-Luc Picard. He has defend, but may be chosen by other friendly characters with the Starfleet keyword. I guess may be affected by characters within 3 squares. So, which is nice. So if you're playing him at 50 points, he has more of an aura effect, so there is a benefit of that. He's not really a damage dealer. He is primarily just, I'm supporting my crew while navigating the ship. Commander Riker, 75 or 50, both are good. I played him at 50 to do the Thomas the Train trick with the ensign. I feel that at 50, you get some mileage out of him. I feel like he almost needs to be played at 75 so that you can actually do more or be more aggressive with him. But as for getting your Thomas the Train off the map, you want to play him at 75. I mean, at 50. I think that's really the sad part is if you're doing the Thomas the Train trick and you're just trying to reload it and reload it and reload it and reload it and reload it, the 50 point is the best because you're guaranteed to get that other Riker off the map. All right, Commander Data, 50 points, he's the best. Mainly because you get outwit. Like you got a lot of cheap perplex. You don't need perplex from Commander Data. You need outwit. So that is nice. So also having saying other friendly characters within 3 squares with the Starfleet keyword have protected outwit is also good. Thus making Locutus crap. Hate to say it, but yeah. Then you have Worf, which is Empower, but friendly characters with Starfleet within 3 squares. Again, you're better off just paying 50 points for him. Don't even look at the 75 point value. Why is that? I'm getting 11 attack, okay, on both. I'm getting 3 damage on both, but at 50 points I get blades and combat reflexes, which is a lot better for close combat encounters. Yeah, I'm going to go do that. All right, Beverly Crusher, support, power, choose a friendly character within 3 squares with Starfleet keyword. Place them adjacent to Beverly Crusher. If you do, Beverly Crusher can use support at no cost targeting that character. That's pretty much a free get over here. Okay, she turns into the Scorpion. Okay, so I like this. I will admit, just because the way Starfleet is, she is not the best. She's very optional. If you feel like you're going to be in a lot of situations where you need to get characters out of trouble to heal them, then yes, then play her. Fast Forces Jodie LaForge. You should be. You should be at full power now, Captain. Enhancement, but also affects other friendly characters with a Starfleet keyword within 3 squares. Again, play this character at 50 points. I actually think on Starfleet, forgetting the Thomas the Train trick, this is your second best character in this Fast Forces. Mainly because Starfleet's damage is really low. Now, if he had sidestep on his first click, I wouldn't feel mad. I really wouldn't. And even if he was like 50 and then like 40 or 35 or something, he just had sidestep and no energy explosion and the same stats, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't. Hell, you could even drop his defense down by 1 on all his clicks to do it, and I wouldn't be mad. The thing that I look at with Jodie LaForge, and again, he's not unique, being able to stack that enhancement with Starfleet just gives them such a distinct edge to fight back that it's not funny. So let me just try to summarize off the top of the dome team. Okay, so I have Jody LaForge at 50. I have for Fast Forces Jody LaForge. I have Spock from the Fast Forces Spock from the last set. Now that's 100. Okay, so now for my range, I'm +1 damage, and now I'm +1 attack. I have Commander Shelby, that's 60. So I'm getting +1 attack against whatever theme that I have. So I'm at 160. All right, next I have 50-point Jean-Luc Picard. So that's giving me defend in the crazy leadership. Okay, so that's putting me at 210. Now I can add in 2 Nurse Agawas, for that's 30 points, so that puts me at 240. Okay, I can put in a Wesley Crusher, Ensign Wesley Crusher, that puts me at 265, and then put in a 15-point Wesley Crusher, and that will put me at 280, and I have 20 points for IDs and equipment, and that's a +7, relatively easy to play, not very difficult Star Trek team. And you're going to be +2 attack against most teams you face, maybe +3 if your opponent plays Robot or Borg. You're going to have +1 damage on all your ranged attacks. Now all of a sudden Jean-Luc Picard is coming out, sidestepping, capping fools with a 13 attack for 3 damage. Okay. And yes, could you be hypersonic speeded all day in a bad map for you? Oh, of course. Of course. But you have 2 perplexes. You can reroll your leadership. You can potentially reroll super senses. I don't think any of the characters have super senses. You have options. You have a lot of fun things that you can do. So I'm just going to say that is Starfleet bad? No. Is the set bad? No. Is the set frustrating? Yes. Is there any way of pleasing the fanboys? No. I'll just admit it. Could they have done a better job on the set? Yes. If I was to tell you to buy, would you buy blind? Sure, you can. You're not going to get too burned. Okay. Unlike some other sets. I am just more frustrated. I am more frustrated. The next set, Borg really needs to come out and show me that they can fight Starfleet. If they can't show me that they can fight Starfleet, then I think this is sort of moot. I think it's moot. And I think the other problems that come in is when we get like more Romulans, when we get more like let's just say we get introduced Ferengi, or we get introduced what was it on the other side of the Deep Space Nine portal? Anybody from the Delta Quadrant? I forgot what they were called. I forgot what the Delta Quadrant people were called with the shape changers. If we get any of those guys, they all have to be able to compete against Star Trek, and as of right now, they can't. So what are we going to do? And I don't know. And that's how I feel. Like I don't see what the game is going to do to help other factions be good. And so WizKids, if you can hear me out, you know, Kenny, hey buddy, I know this one's probably a little bit hard to listen to. Okay. When you make I know I'm not the game design guy, but I'm just going to try to throw this out here. When you are making teams and factions for the game of HeroClix, you need to ask yourself the following questions. How is this faction going to compete against the other factions? Or what is their mechanism and their win condition? Okay, you have hypersonic speed in this game. how are characters and forces that don't have hypersonic speed are able to compete against hypersonic speed? Okay, how are they able to compete against characters that have super high attacks and super high damage? Okay, how are they going to take on, Superman, the Justice League? Like, what is their advantage to playing them? And I would actually I would love for WizKids to put out videos. Like, stop just using your YouTube channel to tell me Scott Porter videos, and actually put up, games of you all playing and what your thought process is and how you play these teams and why you think they're good. Because I'm lost. I'm lost in space. My freaking, my Star Trek has landed in the wrong franchise. That's how lost I am. Because I can say Star Trek is a horde. They're like Wakanda. You put a bunch of them together and then they get buffed up. And then they move downfield. Okay? But they don't other than that buffed up mechanic ball, that Zerg ball, they don't have anything that's good. So then when I go even further and I look at everybody that's supposed to fight the Star Trek and fight Starfleet, they are completely incompetent to either do something that's like sidesteps that their bonuses, or they're able to have something that's unique that Starfleet has a problem getting around. Okay? And I think that's where the game is with these characters. And it's frustrating because I would love to say, yo man, I have a plus 11 Starfleet. And I'm playing against, I'm playing that at Worlds. I would love to do that. Heck, before Thomas the Train got nerfed, I was 3/4 of the way there. I was 3/4 of the way there of playing a Starfleet team. I ordered everything that I needed. Everything that I needed to play that team. I got 5 extra Thomas Rikers. And if it wasn't for the fact that freaking Thomas Riker is the most efficient Starfleet character ever made, I probably would have just re-put him on eBay. I mean, he is the most efficient character. Like, I didn't break it down because I was pissed. But for 40 points, look at what he does. And you start looking at the buffing that he easily can get. And all of a sudden you start realizing that character is really, really scary. Like, all of a sudden he's a 12 attack, 4 damage. And it's like, oh, that's happening. So, make your factions... I know it's easy to say, like, make your factions even. But make your factions have advantages against the other factions that the prime faction or whatever just doesn't have a counter against. Like, again, Captain Marvel is a bad set of faction balance. It's a horrible set for faction balance. If you want to say, like, look, but that was what happened in the movie. The Kree hunted all of the aliens. They hunted everybody. And of course, when it came to the Skrulls, they of course going to go kill the Skrulls like little dogs. No. That's fine for the plot of the movie. But give me an ability that just says, for my Skrulls, it just says, look, Captain Marvel switches sides. At the beginning, during force construction, you have like resistance leader or something. At the beginning of force construction, character name Captain Marvel. You don't even have to say the whatchamacallit. You don't even have to say like the actual inset Captain Marvel. You could just say character name Captain Marvel gains scroll keyword. Boom. Now this faction has a chance. This faction has a chance. Or you can say she gains scroll keyword and is protected outwit. Boom! This faction has a chance. Now I can go and play all my other scroll guys that boost scrolls and do all this stuff, because again, she's helping them now. So of course, she's going to get the benefit of their leadership and their governments and all this other stuff. That made sense. If anything else, you can justify all the other crap that you did to the scrolls with the Kree just stomping a mud hole in their face. Okay? And just did something that simple. And it's not even a betrayer mechanic. So, like I said, this is a Star Trek review, and I love it, and I want to love it more, but I can't. And that's all I really can say. So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for listening again. Eventually I got to find a way of solving this whole echo problem. Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me on planet Glongnarg, they don't have roaches, but they have these like roach-like creatures with about 100 little like particle legs, and then they float. And what they do is they go and they steal dust particulates in the air and then poop globs on the floor. So no one wants to deal with them. They can be in any climate too, so they're just annoying. I don't know why my Twitter told me this. Maybe to sort of empathize that the problem of infestation is everywhere, not just my apartment. Yeah, man, I got roaches bad. So I've been hitting the borax, hitting the raid, hitting the glue traps, and like going on freaking ninja mode at night. So yeah. Anyway, you can go onto my Twitter and find out when new shows are up, because YouTube proves more and more every day that it's not for the YouTuber. It's for Jimmy Kimmel and all those mainstream media people. So follow me on Twitter to let you know when a new show is up if you enjoy the show. They want me to tell you to like and subscribe and do all this other jank, but just follow me on Twitter. It's way better. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it Autobot, baby. Let me know what you think of this set. How much did you buy? Did you feel like it was worth it, or did you feel like it was a waste of money? Yeah. I'm tired. I'm just, you love something and then you get drained. Anyway, that's it for today's show. Fighting the minor depression of doing this review. I'd like to thank you all for listening. And remember,